Hey, this is Mr. Mola for part 2 on parallel and perpendicular lines. So the last video had everything on the note packet except for page 110, where it starts talking about these perpendicular lines. And here it actually asks us if they're parallel or perpendicular. So here, if we look at lines, we have line A, B, and C. And we can see that line A has a slope of down 1, down 2, down 3, down 4 over 2. So line A has a slope of -2. Line B has a slope of up 1, up 2, right 1, right 2, so 2 over 2, which is 1. Then line C has a slope of down 1, down 2, over 1, so -2. So here we know lines A and B are parallel. I'm sorry, A and C are parallel, not B. Okay, and we don't have any that are perpendicular because none of those are opposites. Okay, so it might look like C or B is perpendicular to some of those, but that's why we count the slope. All right, here, so same thing. We got line A is this darker line, so up 1, up 2, up 3, up 4, up 5, up 6, over 1, over 2, so 6 over 2 is the same as 3. And then we have line B that is down 1, down 2, over 1, over 2, over 3, over 4, over 5, over 6. So 2 over 6, which is the same as 1/3. And then we have line C that's up 1, up 2, up 3, up 4, up 5 over 2, which we can't simplify. So here we're going to look at and see that A and B are perpendicular. 3 and -1/3 are the exact opposite. Opposite of positive is negative. Opposite of 3 is 1 over 3. All right, 11 and 12, same thing. I'm going to try and do these in my head. Let's just look at 12 here. So -1 minus a -4 is a +3. -1 minus a -2 turns into a +1. So I got 3 over 1 for the first one. Here I have 2 minus a -4 is 6. 1 minus a -1 is 2, so 6 over 2 for line B. And then line C here, I have 2 minus 3, which is -1, and 4 minus 2, which is 2. Okay, so I got 3 over 1, which simplifies to 3, 6 over 2, which simplifies to 3, and -1/2, which is already simplified as -1/2. So we'll see here, A and B are the same. They're both 3, so they both end up being parallel. Okay, here we'll look at both of these. None of them are too bad. So line A, it already tells us our slope is 3 over 4, so we like line A. It already told us is 3 over 4. Line B here, I got to do some work, but it's only one step, so not too bad. I'm going to divide both sides by -3. So I get y equals 4/3 x plus 1. -4/3 x, sorry. Okay, so there's line B. We got -4/3. Line A, still slope of 3/4. So let's look at line C here. 4y minus -3/4 x plus 9. Divide both sides by 4. Divide both sides by 4, so y equals -3/4 x plus 9/4. So here we don't have any that are parallel. None of them are the same. +3/4, -4/3, -3/4. None of those are the same, but we do see that line A and B are perpendicular because +3 over 4 and -4 over 3 end up being the opposite reciprocals. Positive, -3 over 4, -4 over 3. All right, and now let's do the same for 14. Ooh, again, B looks pretty nice for us. Our slope is 5 over 2. Already tells us that there. Even C is nice for us. It's 2 over 5. Okay, so they're not the same. They're not opposite reciprocals. They're reciprocals, but they're not opposite. So we got to see if line A gives us something. So line A here is 5y minus 2x equals 1. And this one's a little more difficult. We got to add 2x to both sides. So 5y equals 2x plus 1, and then divide both sides by 5. So y equals 2 over 5x plus 1/5. So 2 over 5 is my slope for line A. 2 over 5 is my slope for line C. So A and C are parallel. All right, here, 15 and 16. So these could be a little more difficult, a little bit more work. Again, kind of like on the last ones with parallel, they kind of give you this number at the end just to mess with you. So I'm going to ignore that. Okay, so same thing as before. They gave us our x here. Our x is -2. They give us our y. Our y is +2. They give us a slope, but remember, this is perpendicular to it. So make sure we're reading the directions here. It's perpendicular to that. So perpendicular to +2/3 is -3/2. So we do have to switch the slope then there because it's asking for a line that's perpendicular to it. And remember, we're going to do our point slope form. So y minus y1 equals m, and then x minus x1. So y minus, they gave me 2 as my y. My slope is now -3/2. My x is a -2, so minus a -2 turns into a plus. And then remember, we do those two steps of math. So I'm going to distribute that and get -3/2x. -3/2 times 2 is a -3. And then I got to do one more step of math. It's a -2, so I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So I figure out that a line that's parallel to this line that they gave me is this line right here. I'm sorry, perpendicular, not parallel. So y equals 2/3x. Y equals -3/2x. Okay, and then the last one, a little more complicated because they didn't even tell us what the slope is, so we got to do some math here. I'm going to divide both sides by 2, divide both sides by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2x, and then 3/2 is just 3/2. Okay, and this one's a little trickier because my slope is a whole number. So remember, this is when it gets a little trickier when our slope is a whole number. So my x they give me is 3, the y they give me is 1, the slope they gave me is 2, and the opposite or reciprocal of 2 is -1/2. So remember, 2/1, all slopes should be fractions. So really the opposite of +2/1 is -1/2. So here I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to write out my equation. So y minus 1 equals my slope is -1/2, and then x minus 3. Okay, this one might get a little messier because now we got some fractions to deal with. So distribute, I get -1/2 times x is -1/2 x. -1/2 times 3 is a positive 1.5. Then I'm going to add 1 to each side. So that cancels out. So I'm left with -1/2 x. 1.5 plus 1 is 2.5. So a line perpendicular to y equals 2x minus 3/2 is y equals -1/2 x plus 2.5. So very important that we read the words when we're doing our work and doing quizzes and tests, whether it's asking for a line that's parallel or perpendicular.